You know, the previous generation, the older saints before us, they did not mean to. They loved Jesus. They didn't mean to, but they handed us confusion on the subject of the return of Jesus. Not on purpose. It just wasn't on their minds, and they were handed confusion. So they handed us confusion on the subject, and now here we are. Global pandemic, increasing racial conflict, anti-Semitism sharply increasing, the economies of the earth struggling, rumors of war and gathering storm clouds of war in Europe, as you know well, in Taiwan, in the Pacific. We've woken up to a new world of confusion and chaos and rage and anger and uncertainty, and nobody has any answers. Gender confusion, sexual confusion is sweeping through our nation, and no one's looking to the church for clarity. The world is storming, and no one's looking to the church for clarity because the generation prior handed us confusion, and we weren't ready to answer with a prophetic clarity from the Word to speak into the hour that we find ourselves. I believe that we owe our children clarity on the hour that we live in. I believe we owe our grandchildren clarity on the hour. We owe them. What wasn't given to us, here's the good news. Those that came before us aren't our primary teachers. The Holy Spirit is. We don't have to indict the previous generation and be mad at them for what they didn't give us, but we do have to acknowledge that we don't have it, and we need to go to the Holy Spirit and the Word to get it, because we owe our children and our grandchildren clarity in the hour so that they can have rest in their heart. They're not giving themselves to the Fox News answer to the storm of the hour. They're not giving themselves to the CNN answer. We're losing a generation to a progressive answer, and we're losing a generation in the overreaction to the conservative answer. Neither one of them is the biblical answer, and none of it is prophetic. None of it has life and power to sustain a heart through the storm of what's coming. The Bible talks about the 4 stumbling blocks at the end of the age, and actually it was Jesus. Jesus said it time and time again. More than anybody else in the Bible, Jesus talked about the end times, and he talked about the stumbling blocks of fear, offense, lust, and deception. When we look at the future for our kids and our grandkids, we have to take seriously the words of Jesus related to fear, offense, lust, and deception, and we have to understand that's the world our kids are stepping into. You know, somebody goes, well, I don't got time, to study the Bible and get this stuff clear, and nobody's really clear on this anyways. That's a bad answer to your kids with what's coming. It's a bad answer for your grandkids. That is a bad answer. You're staring at your kids' future, your grandkids' future, increasing fear, increasing offense against God, offense against the church, increasing lust, increasing deception. You don't have to be afraid of those things, but with sobriety and urgency for the next generation, we got to get it clear. One more story in light of what Isaac shared. As Isaac shared, this just struck me. It's 1997, Mike Bickle, our spiritual father, Isaac and I. Mike Bickle, it's 1997, he's in a prayer meeting. He's in the corner of the room, nobody can see what he's reading. He's reading Isaiah 63, and the fire of God is hitting him, and he's weeping as he's reading the passage. And the Lord is stirring him. And in the prayer meeting, a man he never met, a very prophetic man, doesn't want to interrupt him, kind of sneaks a piece of paper onto his Bible and runs away. And Mike, tears and fire and encounter, opens the piece of paper, doesn't see who gave it to him. The piece of paper says, I see an angel over your shoulder pouring fire on you. about Isaiah 63 and the Jesus in red. He's looking around to see if anybody can see what he's reading. The prophetic man is calling out the passage that he's encountering the Lord around. I see the Lord pouring fire on you on Isaiah 63 and the Jesus in red. And the Lord asks Mike the question, and I believe it's the question Isaac is asking you today. Will you stand with the Jesus in red? Everybody wants to stand with the Jesus in white that saves our souls. But the Lord was asking him on that day, will you stand with the Jesus in red? No one will stand. That's Isaiah 63. It says no one would stand with him. No one will stand with the Jesus in red. And the Holy Spirit is inviting the church to stand with Jesus as he is in full, not just who we want him to be or need him to be. Because where are the ones that will be my friend and stand with me as I am? What I do for the sake of love, how far I'll go to deliver my bride from oppression, how far I'll go to deliver Israel from destruction, how far I'll go for the sake of love. Will anyone stand with me? I believe that's the twofold invitation this morning. Will we hand the next generation clarity on what's going on in the world? And will we stand with loyalty with the Jesus in red without offense? That's what I want to leave you with this weekend from our time together. There's so much more to know and to talk about and explore in the Bible, and it's joyful. But we can't get away from the fact that it's not just joyful. It's not fearful, but it is sober and it is urgent. This is real. This isn't just a cool hobby to unpack Bible mysteries. This is the hour in which we live. It's one of my favorite quotes from The Lord of the Rings. It's what Gandalf said to Frodo. He said, we don't get to choose the times we were born into. We have to choose what we're going to do with them. We didn't get to choose to be born into these times, but I tell you, Isaiah the prophet, the apostles of old, they would have died to live in the days in which you live in right now. These are the days Isaiah dreamed about. These are the days the apostles longed to see. You get to live them. You don't have to be afraid of them, but you do have to know what they are. This isn't an altar call where 5 people raise their hand. Jesus commanded us in the gospel to know the signs of the times. This is a command of Jesus. This isn't optional. This isn't where we kind of go, well, I'm just going to kind of blow this off and focus on intimacy. Jesus said, no, you're commanded to know the signs of the times. I don't care about your altar call response. And so we gotta leave here today with more than a cool feeling on our heart and more than a buzz on our spirit. We gotta leave here and go, God, what am I gonna do with this? I am inadequate. I'm not a great Bible student. I get busy too easy and I get distracted. The best we can do is say, Lord, you know the weakness of my frame, help me.